And now I am going to welcome the lovely Sarah Warde. Hi Sarah, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are very, very welcome, and thanks a million for coming in this morning.
Pleasure.
So, Sarah, like myself over the years, has volunteered hugely to help people with living well with chronic illness, basically. And I came across Sarah through ME Ireland. Would you like to give us a little bit of information on ME itself, I suppose, and what ME Ireland do?
Well, it's the Irish ME Trust.
Irish
they have
ME Trust.
on Facebook, they're ME Ireland, but it's the Irish ME Trust, and Declan is the man to contact there if you need any help. I'll just give you the number now so you have it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so it's 014013629. And when it came to years and years ago, and I had got ME when I was about 33.
And what exactly is ME now?
Well,
for those who wouldn't understand.
Okay, so I was very fit.
Yeah.
Right, swimming 50 lengths twice a week. I could go skiing, I could go hiking. Never ran out of energy, really. Of working full time with a small child of 2-3 years of age. Mm-hmm. And just getting on with life, having a good time, you know.
Yeah.
And I was going into work one day and I got a cough. Now, I'd been swimming the day before. 2 days before. And I had the bags in the back of the car to go again that day because I was looking at doing swimming lessons and stuff just to kind of, improve my stroke or whatever,
As if you weren't fit enough now, Sarah.
I used to love swimming. So basically it made me feel happy when I was in the pool.
Yeah.
So I got a cough and it felt very different. It felt very harsh. And I said, what the hell was that? It kind of ripped through my chest. So I said, I better get that checked out because it was a strange cough.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't just a little cough, whatever. So I went to the doctor and I didn't go to the gym or the pool that night. And he said, oh, you seem to have a very severe chest infection. And I said, okay, but I was fine 2 days ago. I swam 50 lengths and walked out of the pool and not a puff. So he said to me, take 2 weeks out. He said, take these antibiotics and steroids and you should be fine. So 2 weeks later, I had this, it developed into a niggling cough.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, my husband said, listen, we'll go away for a night before you go back to work. It might make you feel better. Because I was
Give you a boost.
Give me a boost,
Yeah.
So I was going, and we were at dinner and stuff, and I was coughing and coughing and coughing. He says, what is wrong with you? That thing isn't going away at all. And some people had said to me, just that cough is very deep. You'd want to be careful. And I was going, sure, I'm taking everything I can.
You're doing what the doctor says.
I'm doing what the doctor says.
Right.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm always fine, So I went back to work, and with the increase of activity, the cough got worse and worse and worse as the hours went by.
Okay.
And before I knew it, I was coughing in fits. And what I didn't know until a couple of days later was I had asthma.
Oh.
And I got asthma from the virus.
Yes.
But what happened inside in work is I popped a rib. I broke a rib from
You
the
were coughing.
I was
Oh my
coughing so
God.
much I broke a rib, and I ended up being carried out to A&E.
Yes.
And I ended up with double pneumonia and 2 broken ribs.
My God.
And I was kind of winching, all right, getting into the car and saying, oh, that's quite sore.
Yeah.
And I rang the doctor, and the doctor had said to me, oh, we're very busy, we can't fit you in for 3 days. And I was kind of saying, well, this doesn't feel right. It's, and I'm not an alarmist or anything. I'm kind of a happy-go-lucky person.
Yeah.
So I was kind of going, this is getting very sore,
Like most of us, we're kind of inclined, I suppose, to brush things off.
Well, you try and brush it off, but at this stage it was getting quite sore.
Yeah.
It was getting quite sore. And I said, listen, this is getting quite sore. I think I'm in a bit of trouble here, She says, well, we can't fit you in. And within half an hour, I had a broken rib,
Wow.
And they'd carry me out to the ambulance and off into A&E and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So that was fine anyway. They got me in and they basically, I'm going to make a long story short now, they ended up, I had 2 broken ribs and double pneumonia. They literally got a second opinion, and he came in and put me on all sorts of stuff, and he literally said, you're a very lucky girl.
Wow.
Now, I've written all about this in a book and what you can do to help yourself, and it's called Fatigue. So what I learned then was, right, okay, I think I'm okay after a couple of weeks. I'd start getting out to do a bit of walking and stuff. But the thing that was killing me was this one thing with chronic fatigue and ME is PEM. Every time you do something, right? I'll do this radio station now, right? And I'll do it for an hour and I'll go home, and tomorrow, I might feel a bit tired tonight, and I will feel tired tonight, but tomorrow I'll feel more tired.
Yeah.
Now, I know how to gauge it now because I'm at this like 24 years now. So I know how to gauge it. So I know I'm okay with an hour and then taking it easy for the day. But what was happening back then, nobody knew how to manage it. And they still don't know how to manage it, really.
There's a lot of trial and error.
There's a lot of trial and error. But what you can do is you can do specific things that help to improve your quality of life.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
Because there's an awful lot you can do for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as I met a person there with long COVID, and long COVID is a post-viral fatigue as well.
Yes.
Right, and it's, some people go from long COVID into ME, chronic fatigue. And what he was saying was a lot of it's between the ears, how you manage it, how you listen to your body.
Yes.
Right, that's vital, because if you overdo it, you're going to pay big time. I ended up with pneumonia several times afterwards because someone said to me, you'd be grand, go walk your dog or go out and play with your kid or whatever. Go for a good long walk, you'd be grand.
Yeah, because acceptance is very difficult when you're coming from a background of being really fit and
well, people don't understand
healthy.
The drastic change as well, because I was a never-ready bunny, like. I mean, I was skiing, like, I was called Speedy on the slopes, like, you know, and I was always called Smiley because I was happy-go-lucky and whatever. And then you go from that to boom.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It's a hard pill to swallow because not only are you trying, like I know about depression and stuff because I know people who've had it, but I knew I hadn't depression, but I knew I was dealing with something very serious because it was hitting me over the head every time I overdid it.
Yeah.
I mean, I might go out to something after a couple of months there. I got it in November, so in February, say my sister had a birthday and I went out to it and I felt great and I was meeting everybody and said, yeah, I'm going back to work and it's great. And I'd lined up a little job that was easy to do because I said, I'll take this handy now.
Yeah.
And I'd given up my old job because I couldn't go back to it. They wouldn't let me go back part-time or anything, so I had to resign. So,
and that's the huge knock-on effect.
Oh,
it's not just the illness in itself, but it's like
not being able to work,
it's not
like
able to work, which means there's
the
financial
social
strain,
and
there's
financial
social strain.
Yeah.
It's very
absolutely.
difficult.
It's a whole metamorphosis on your life. Like,
yeah,
it's all the fun stuff as well as the like. I mean, I like working. I enjoy working.
Yeah.
So basically, I missed it a lot because of the social aspect and the challenging of the brain and all that. I love all that.
But I don't know if you got it now the same thing. It was like, God, it must be great not to be working. And
I got that. I got
no.
that. But the thing was, I was lucky to survive the first episode. So I was like, people would say to me, some lovely person said to me one day, isn't it well for you, lady leisure?
Yeah.
And I says, yeah, but when I first got this, I was lucky to survive. I nearly died.
Yeah.
She said, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, well, don't be too quick to judge
This is it.
the cover.
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, I might look fine on the outside, but the inside's like a ladder. Like, it's not working at all.
But this is what
it's
they say
managing
with,
me.
with invisible illness. You see, you look so well on the outside, and people say, like, when they see you, oh, she looks great. There's nothing wrong with her. Like,
exactly.
she was off
You
for her
look
walk
fine
today, or she was off doing this. And,
exactly. And I mean,
but they don't see the behind the scenes that you need a day before and a day after to actually do
you
that
sometimes
test.
need 3 weeks
Yeah.
afterwards. I mean, I've nearly lost about 3 years ago. Between getting, like, when I get a flu, like, because of the asthma, and then the fatigue sets in or whatever. So it takes me a good while to recover, like.
Yeah.
So you lose 2-3 months before you even get back to, say, where I am now, sitting in front of you for an hour, and that's what I'll do for the day, like.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, I mean, it's a kind of thing that has to be managed very carefully. Because the payback is huge.
Yes.
So the first bit of advice I got, I'm with Dr. Mary Ryan for a long, long time. You're talking 6-7 years, if not more.
Yes.
Right? And the first thing she says, you're a doer.
Yeah.
You're a talker. She says, you've got to slow that down. She says, you've got to go to a party and you probably cover the room, which I do. I mean, I love seeing people. I love people.
Yeah.
I've always been in customer service, sales, hospitality. You know, you name it. I loved it.
You have to learn to manage the energy, though.
But you have to manage the energy.
Yeah.
So what she said to me was, sit down, go and say hello to your friend or whatever, and greet her. Then sit down and relax and let people come to you, which was a whole new ball game for me. Like, and then she said, whatever you want to do, like I used to walk an hour every night with my husband, and we used to have great old chats. So he said, what? She looked at that and she says, have it and have it again. She said, so if you want to go an hour, you say half an hour, 15 minutes. And that's on a good day.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, everything is an achievement. Right? If you can only walk 1 minute, that's an achievement. That's movement. Right? So I had to learn to reprogram all my talking.
The thought process.
My whole thought process had to be redesigned. My whole eating pattern had to be redesigned. I mean, I'm a totally different person now than I was then. I mean, I always ate healthy, but now I eat much more healthy.
And mindfully, because you're just so mindful of the effect it will have.
Well, yeah, you want to put good stuff. It's like a car.
Yeah.
You're not going to put dirty diesel in your car. Like, you want to put good stuff into your body. So, I mean, I still eat the peanut butter, do you know, but it's 100% peanut butter.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's not got all these things in it. I mean, you read the labels now and you see, right, which thing is, like, obviously you go for the fruit and the veg. It's fresh. But if you're going for stuff like, I love peanut butter with homemade jam, and basically I'll have that with, you know, but it's 100% peanut butter.
Yeah, you can go for the option that has less preservatives and it's just more
pure,
of a natural, pure.
Yeah.
I come back to, say, the fantastic market we have here in Limerick. All the beautiful products you can get down there that are natural.
Fabulous.
You know?
Love the market.
And, I think, like, you know, I used to give a course and it was called Living Well with Chronic Illness. And what you were saying there just brought me back to a specific part of it, which was setting yourself goals.
Yes.
And setting yourself goals from where you are now at the moment rather than where you used to be, like when you were in your health.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, when they were starting, would go, oh yeah, I'm going to do that hour walk. Like you were saying, I will do that hour walk now 3 times a week. And I'm 10 out of 10 confident that I'm going to achieve that. And then they come in the next week and they would be so down in themselves because they weren't able to do it. And I would have said to them, can you not do half of it? Like you said, set yourself an achievable goal so that when you do achieve it, you have that lovely sense of elation and saying, oh, well, I was able to do that today and thank God for it or whatever. And as the weeks went on, you could see that, like you were saying, the thought process was beginning to change and it was more kind of, I have to kind of call a meeting with myself now and say, this is where I am now and I need to be doing what's right for me now. So like
listen
the diet,
to your body because it's very, very important. I did something. I was going back to work at one stage, right? And I thought, great, now I'm ready for it now. I'm able, I'm doing my walks most days. I can do 20 minutes walk. I must be ready now, right? And the doctor said to me, right, okay, I want you to do one favour for me, right? And this was testing the post-exertion malaise, which is the prime thing of ME, right? And he said, I want you to go to the gym. I want you to do 20 minutes on the treadmill. That's it. He said, 2 days later, I want you to do 20 minutes on the treadmill. And 2 days later, I want you to do 20 minutes on the treadmill. I said, great, I can do that. So I went off anyway. And the next day, I went to the gym. I did 20 minutes on the treadmill, walked out and was very proud of myself. I said, this is great. 2 days later, I went to the gym, got up on the treadmill. I couldn't move. My legs, see, the body goes like lead.
Heaviness.
Goes lead. And I couldn't move. And I was going, what is happening here? I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So I lasted 2 minutes and I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? I didn't make it to the third day. I ended up in the regional with pneumonia again. And that was the second bad bout of pneumonia that finished me. My body never ever got back to that level again.
Yeah.
Because it just went, boom, you're not going to do what you're told, you know. And no matter how, because I'm a strong person, no matter how much you fight it, it has It is the boss. Because I tell you, I had many a nun trying to come to control me back in the day, and they couldn't. But I tell you, this took me by the, me by the ankles,
It does, and it's kind of, for a lot of people, even though it might be gradual or, so many of us are so busy all the time with life and family and children and wherever we are in our lives that tiredness, we say we're tired, or if you say you have fatigue, oh yeah, I'm shattered as well, I'm very busy, I'm doing this, that and the other. The fatigue that you're talking about
different level
is a different level, and it's kind of like, I've heard somebody describe it as, like, I suppose with your mobile phone, your battery is to a certain level and you'll get a certain amount of service out of it, blah, blah, blah. But when the battery goes down to that last 1%, and you can't even lift your head off a pillow or speak to somebody.
Well, I describe it as a robot. Because my body feels like a robot, right? So, and even my husband will say, I know how you're feeling the way you walk up the stairs.
Yes.
So I describe it as a robot. In the morning, I'm half-charged robot. And I can go along, do my things in gear one, right?
I love that.
And then as the day goes on, and I have this happen to me, even before Christmas, I go to something and I say, right, I'll last 2 hours. I'll do 2 hours, right? And I'll sit and I'll relax, have a glass of whatever. I think it's ginger ale I usually have when I go out. And basically, I'm sitting there. Speech will go.
Yes.
The speech, I will start saying words will come out of my mouth that aren't connecting to my brain.
Yeah.
And the wrong word will come out. And you'd swear I was drinking vodka.
I know. You're tripping over your tongue.
I'm tripping over your tongue.
Yeah,
and then your legs get heavy. Like, I've broken my ankle several times because the legs don't lift. And then you catch on things. And I'm like, it's just like the robot, the legs go slower and slower and lower and lower and boom. And then you have to realise there are warning signs. When I wake up in the morning, if I say ABC and it's a low octave, I know I'm tired.
Yeah.
I got to take it gently. If I'm going up the stairs and I get to the last 3 steps, I know, right, I'm struggling
by how you're
here.
taking those steps.
How I'm taking those steps.
Yeah.
Right? So there are warning signs.
And you have to be just really, really aware, like you
have
said.
to be aware and listen to your body. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And don't overdo it. Have boundaries.
Boundaries is a huge thing.
Boundaries is the biggest thing.
Learn to say no.
Learn to say no. Even though you mightn't, no is a full sentence. You do not have to, don't waste your energy. It's very valuable. Explaining yourself to anybody.
I know.
You know it's real. I mean, I have a husband who doesn't take any nonsense, really.
Yeah.
And if he thought I was acting the maggot, he'd be long telling me,
You'd know all about
listen,
it.
buddy, come on, get on with it.
Yeah.
But he knows this isn't real. Or this is real, and what is happening to me isn't fake.
Yeah.
So he says to me, listen, you've no apologies. I know that this is, you only have to know that I understand it. Everybody else.
It's lovely to have that support, though, Sarah.
It's magical because of the fact that, he understands, he sees me and he says, Sarah, put a hand on the shoulder, go, time for a rest.
He'll tell you. Yeah.
He'll know because he can hear the speech, he can hear the tone, he can see the movement. He'll go, time for a rest, and I'll go up and I'll sleep.
And can I ask you now, when you were diagnosed initially, aside from his support, how did you know where to turn to for help or support or information on what to do for yourself?
Well, the first thing I did was I did ring the Irish ME Trust. And I went to, I was in hospital twice with pneumonia. So basically, I was referred then on to a specialist who understood ME. And in the meantime, in between the two, I had questions from people like, are you sure you're all right? Are you sure you're not depressed and stuff? So I went to a top psychiatrist and I talked to him about it and said, listen, can you just reassure me that I'm not depressed, even though I know I'm not depressed? And he looked at me and said, Sarah, you're no more depressed than I am.
Yeah.
So he said, you have ME. He understood it. And he gave me guidance. So I've had good people along the way.
Yeah.
But when I got it was pretty easy to diagnose because after 6-7 months, I was in the doghouse a lot.
Yes.
Because of the fact I just couldn't function. I couldn't get through a day. I had the classic symptoms. And
you ticked all the boxes.
I ticked all the boxes, and there was no question about it.
But like with fibromyalgia, then there aren't any blood tests as such.
There aren't any tests, but you know from what's going on. Like the post-exertion malaise is a big thing. And what used to happen to me every time I overdid it, my chest went.
Yeah.
My immune system
That's where
crashed.
your weakness was.
That was my weakness.
Yeah.
So my immune system crashed. And I was on this particular tablet that they put me on the first time I got pneumonia. And I would take that. I was taking that every 6 months, every 6 weeks. Right? And that's how low my immune system was back then. And I was taking it and whatever. And my one fear was that would stop working, because what would I do then?
Yeah.
But what I did was I bought a nebulizer, and that helped with the asthma and stuff. And that kept me, like, I used to be going into hospital quite a bit and stuff with migraines. Migraines were another thing that were huge, because when the fatigue set in, the migraines would trigger.
Kick off, yeah.
They'd trigger and kick off. They're another kind of lovely symptom of this thing.
I know, and that's it. It isn't just one symptom, because there's a knock-on effect with so many other things.
I'll give you a funny one. I was out with my mother-in-law, who has Alzheimer's or dementia, one or the other. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another, I think. I don't know much about it. And I don't know who was worse with the forgetting the things, whatever, between herself and myself, because you lose words, you forget things, and you're like, gee, only that right, this is ME, it's not dementia, like, because people go, Jesus, your memory is bad, or you're stuttering or something. Have you been drinking this? No, I haven't drank in 10 years, like, it's like...
I think it's just being honest about it. I often say, like, because I have fibromyalgia and rheumatoid, so I can kind of... chronic fatigue is a huge part of that with the fibro, as you know.
Yeah.
But I'll say to people... fibro fog, I could be in the middle of a conversation with you and lose complete track of what we were even talking about. And I have to say, sorry, that's me. Like,
or if somebody's talking, because you're tired, you can't keep up with the conversation.
Yes,
and you have to go, excuse me, sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of misfiring of the brain, and because it does affect the brain, it's neurological. So it does affect the brain, and it affects everything, because the brain is connected to everything, your gut, your legs, everything. So the weakness and the heaviness and like, if you're writing, you only get a certain amount of time to write, and then it turns out like you're writing like your grandmother. And then you just can't hold the pen, like, and you're going,
I know, so I'm laughing at it, but it's just because
it's just so familiar.
It's so relatable.
But there's an awful lot you can do to help yourself.
There is.
There is an awful lot. And boundaries is one thing, saying no is another. Food is very important.
Food is very important,
because you can't exercise. Now, you can go for a gentle walk, right? But some days you can't go for a walk. Other days you might be able only to do 5 minutes or a minute, and that's okay, because everything is an achievement.
Everything
is an achievement. And I had to learn that, because I used to be giving myself an awful hard time. Why can't I walk the hour? Why can't I? So I had to go and retrain my whole thought process and say, no, if I can walk 5 minutes, I'm happy out.
Job done.
I do now.
Yeah.
I do.
But it is over time. And I know you, like, you have
to be very careful, because it's an up and down cycle. It's an up and down cycle, because you do too much and down you go and up you go. So you got to find that, like,
balance,
that horizon line, that you don't kind of go too far away, right? Because then it's better for the body, because the more you dip or crash, as they call it, the worse it is for the body, because your body has to work so hard to get you back up again.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can keep yourself at an even key, and sleep is very important.
Rest is so important.
Even if you can't sleep, just what I do is I turn on stories on YouTube. And last night I was listening to the Orient Express, going from Paris to...
Well, the audio books are fantastic, I feel, because you can just lie flat. Sometimes, I myself just need to lie flat. I mightn't be able to sleep, but I have to lie flat. I can't relax sitting in a chair, or just, that's not a rest. It has to be. So the audiobooks are fantastic.
Oh, they're heavenly.
Or guided imagery that you can get on YouTube, just to guide you on a walk along a beach or in a forest, if you can't. Or the Orient Express. Through Europe, there we go.
The Austrian Alps and the peaks and the snow-capped mountains.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's fabulous.
Like. Because your mind can take you to these destinations, and you can just, like, picture yourself there, and it takes you away out of your pain or your fatigue for a little while.
You can't think of two things at the one time.
This is it. You can only tune into one, like the radio.
Into one thing.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're thinking of the Austrian Alps and the snow-capped mountains, and I used to be a skier, so I'd be visualizing myself up, standing with my poles ready to go, and then I'm going down this, and I'm actually, skiing down the. I can actually feel that, and the body doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
So you're actually in a place of pure joy, like.
Yeah.
And I miss the skiing, but I'm hoping that, like the scientists are saying now, there is hope for it.
Mm-hmm.
There is hope for a cure. So I'm hoping, like I'm 56 now. I'm hoping by the time I get 60, they'll have a cure even sooner, and then I can go back skiing.
Yeah, and that is what is so important, is to try through it all to have a positive mindset and be hopeful for the future.
And focus on what you can do. Like I can do a little bit of art. I can do a little bit of reading. I can do a little bit of photography is great.
You love the photography. You're very good at the photography. Yeah.
Point and click.
Yeah.
You can put it on automatic mode and point and click and just enjoy it. Like you're out in nature, and if you spend 5 minutes out in the back garden clicking away at different things,
just takes you out of yourself, doesn't it, Sarah?
Out of yourself.
Yeah. And you have a social group now that meets as well.
We do. We used to meet quite regularly. Now we meet in the Strand. Our next meeting in the Strand actually is the 26th of March at 12 noon. So anybody who wants to get more advice, you can meet in the Strand Hotel in Limerick on the 26th of March at 12 noon. We also do weekly Zoom calls, right? And I do talks on there. So if you want to get more information, I deal with how to manage your life on a day-to-day basis, right? How to manage the anxiety, the stress, building boundaries, how to manage difficult people, how to say no. I mean, there's about 26 to 36 chapters in the book. I can't remember now. But it's all these different things that help you to focus on what you can do and improve your day and stay on that horizon line.
Yes.
Do you know, and not dip. Now, you're going to dip a bit,
do
you know, but you don't dip as far as you... Because when you dip far, it's very bad for your mood. It's very bad for your mental fitness.
But it takes so much to get back to
it's
a
fight.
level
It's
of...
fight. It's a fight to get back up.
Yeah,
it's fight. If you're trying to grab your way up again, you know, and it takes a lot of strength.
But doesn't it take a lot of mental strength and mental...
It does, and that's where the little kind of low maintenance activities come in. Even going out in the back garden with a jacket and a blanket on, and walking around the garden, listening to the birds and looking at the different plants and stuff, and taking a couple of deep breaths. Yeah, like breath work is phenomenal. It's de-stressing. It slows down your heart rate. It relaxes the hormones and the stresses and everything.
It just gets you out of the fight or flight mode.
It gets you out of that. And when you're in that state, it activates your vagus nerve, which is the healing nerve. And your body gets a break from everything, the chaos around you or the thought process of worrying about this, that and the other. Yeah. I mean, if you're worrying, it's not doing you any good.
No, and it's eating up energy that you don't have to give in the first place.
You've got to watch the inner energy. Your energy is like gold.
Yeah. It is.
It really is like gold. You've got to mind it.
Yeah. I just have something to read out here. Just a reminder for anybody that is struggling out there with chronic illness that it's not your fault. So if you could remind yourself that you didn't choose to be sick or you didn't cause your sickness. It just happened. It's completely beyond your control. And you are doing everything you can and learning to do everything you can to make things better. You are doing your best even on your worst days, keeping it positive and just trying to do as little or as much as possibly you can. This is a big one. It doesn't define you. You are more than your illness. Your illness is not a punishment and you don't deserve it. And it does not make you weak or a failure. It makes you strong. So, Sarah.
We also have an Emmy gathering in the Woodlands. We've been doing it now for a number of years. We've been in the Woodlands 3 years in a row. I'm
so disappointed I missed that this year.
It is amazing. Yeah. Tracy from the Body Tree.
Yes, she's amazing.
Is amazing. She herself and myself plan it out, and then she organises it. And on the first day, we just meet for a kind of a gathering, and then on the second day, we do all treatments. And these treatments have been done from her therapists who have worked with people with ME for the last 6-7 years, even longer, because she used to come to the. We used to do face-to-face meetings once a week. And she used to come there and talk to us all the time.
And she has a couple of clinics running around town.
She has a lot of
she?
clinics, yeah. She has one out in the Urban Co-op. That's the one I go to, but she has other ones.
And I've been down to the one in Killeely there, which is fantastic.
Lovely.
It's beautiful.
Killeely's lovely.
Yeah, and the girls are amazing once you explain to
fabulous.
them. Yeah,
they're fabulous. But she'll be, and that's it's very special this year because it's ME Awareness Day is the 12th of May. So it starts on the 12th of May to the 15th of May. So you stay in the woodlands. It's a very good rate. Yeah. And the advice and the treatments you get make a huge difference to your condition. It'll improve it immensely.
Yeah, and gives you the space to just process it and take time out for yourself as well.
Exactly. And the woodlands, they're like family. Do you know, I mean, they're just so kind. They can't do enough for you.
And you're with people then that are going through the same thing. You're with like-minded people that want to help themselves as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they give tips to each other then, you know.
Find out so much in talking to others.
You find out so much. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, people think, oh, God, it'll all be dreary and whatever. It's not.
Not a bit like that.
Not a bit like that. No, I mean, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We're there to learn and do what we can to help ourselves. We can sneak off to the bedroom. I usually sneak off to the bedroom, get an hour sleep, maybe 2 hours, come back down and go back up again anytime I want. You don't have to do anything.
And that's the important thing about it as well, is that because there's such an understanding around it, that you fit in around treatments or classes or whatever is going on over the weekend that suit you.
Yes, you can book an appointment and say, right, I'm getting my treatment at 3:00. I can take it easy, come down for breakfast. I can get a little 5-minute fresh air. I can go back to bed if I want. Yeah. You don't have to do anything. It's
on your own terms.
All about pacing, taking a nice slow pace and learning how to manage yourself. And that's very important because managing yourself gets back to the old yes and no, right? I have a friend who I would call and I would say, you know, is it possible to go to this thing, a treatment, say whatever? And she said, let me check my diary now and I'll see where I can fit you in. We need to be the same. We need to not rush into the yeses and go, yes, okay, let me check my diary and I'll get back to you on the times that suit me or that I'm able to do. And if your day, I recommend only having one thing to do a day, as in if like say a radio interview like this, and then the day before and the day after, you kind of potter around the house, maybe get a bit of fresh air or whatever. But if you're going out for a day, say you're going out for an hour or 2 hours, just try and take it easy the day after. You know, listen to your body and make sure that you're pacing yourself through the week and the day. And if there's an event on, like say if you have to go to a wedding, what I usually do is I do nothing for 3 days beforehand. And then I come up to the wedding and I plan it so that, right, okay, I go to the church and the wedding and everything. And then I might, we go to the hotel, I disappear for
an hour.
And then I come back down, we go to the dinner, and after the dinner, I disappear for an hour. Yeah. Do you know? And sometimes
because it is a long day and you have to break it up into sections.
And sometimes I don't come back down again.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because I'm just not able, the body's just not able for it.
Fine.
And that's okay.
To listen to yourself. Yeah.
And also just pace yourself through the day. Don't be talking too much. Don't be running around. Just pace yourself. Be gentle and take in what's around you. Yeah. Use your ears twice as much as you use your mouth.
I know. People would often say, like, you know, you're very quiet or something like that.
Yeah.
It's because I'm trying to conserve my energy, and it's not that, you know, I'm not wanting to take part, or because a lot of times, I suppose if you're in group settings and people have stronger voices, they'll be more inclined to speak, so you speak. So you just stay back because you haven't the energy to partake in it. But it doesn't mean that you don't want to.
Exactly.
You know, it just means that you have to find the right people and people who understand.
Yes, don't waste your time, you know, explaining or getting into things, getting dragged into differences of opinion and stuff. What I do is I sit back and I observe. And I see that Mary Jo over here is making a smart comment, and sure, Helen over here is reacting, and then whatever. It's like watching a movie. Like you're going, this is.
Have the energy for this.
Do you know? And I'm just listening and watching and observing, and it's like then afterwards, you were very quiet. I said, yeah, I was just watching. I was just taking it all in, like you know.
I know.
But the real truth is, you can't get sucked into that.
No.
Right.
Yeah, you have to protect it.
You do.
You have to protect it.
So the next kind of area I want to kind of give you a few tips on is food.
Yes.
Food is very important, and what I try and do is I do an 80-20 rule. But even if you're 60-40, you know, to start off with, so that you know, right? Okay, I'm not giving up everything. Like I'm not a saint, right? Okay, I have my peanut butter.
You have to have something to look
and you
forward
have to
to.
have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But what I would recommend that people say, oh, I can't start a big bar of chocolate without finishing it, right? And I go, okay, well, that's fine. That's no problem. But make sure it's a good bar of chocolate, like good quality chocolate.
Yeah.
Like I love my 90% chocolate. I dip it in my tea and I drink it away.
You can't eat a full bar of that if you
can't,
ever notice. Because it's true. You can only eat a full bar of Cadbury's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you eat properly and you say, right, okay, I'll have my dinner and I'll have I recommend having a nice bit of protein.
Yes.
Right? Less carbs. I'm not saying give up your carbs, but I have my carbs in the middle of the day. And then keep down your sugars.
The sugars are the big one for the dips. Yeah.
The sugars are the ones, really. And I mean, you're allowed your sugar. If you have, they have lovely little snack bars, right? If you have one of those after your dinner with a cup of tea, that's no harm.
It's all you want is something to just kind of like take away the longing, isn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah.
you feel that you're not missing out on everything.
Exactly, and the higher the protein, right? And you still have your vegetables and you have your fruits and you have your protein. The higher the protein, the less the cravings.
It is, yeah.
Because it satisfies you.
Yeah.
If you ever notice, like I do love, I used to be vegan because I tried the vegan way because I thought, oh, my cholesterol and everything was very high, even though I was a good eater. But I said, I'd try the vegan now and I'll get my cholesterol down. But listen, I was kidding myself. I couldn't, it's inherited. So I said, right, okay, that's not working. My cholesterol is up. So I'll basically go back on the meat. So now I like a steak.
Happy days.
And if I have a steak, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's my protein and it fills me up. And after my dinner of protein and about 3 veg, right, or 4 maybe, I'm satisfied.
See, a lot of the time with food as well, we had a fantastic nutritionist, Eileen Burke, in a couple of weeks ago with Brendan O'Brien, actually, and they were chatting away and they were saying that the more time you have in your hands, a lot of the eating you do is through boredom.
Yes.
And it's like going to the fridge and go, like, put a sign up and go, you're not hungry, you're just bored.
I know.
Walk away from the fridge again and just kind of like get into a routine of your breakfast. None of the snacking, none of the in-betweens.
Exactly, yeah.
And
exactly.
Your body will become accustomed to the routine of it then, and you won't have as many longings.
That's important,
yeah.
You know. And there are so many things you can do to help yourself.
Yes.
There really are.
Yeah.
You know. So basically, in the book, I give those. It's a mind of information.
So give us the name of the book now and where people can actually get the book as well.
The book is called Fatigue. Nature's Hand do it in the Crescent and in Castletroy. And there's a bookshop out in Castletroy does it as well. And it's on Amazon and it's on Kindle. So Kindle you can put on your phone, anywhere on your laptop, on your tablet, whatever. And I recommend... recommend it because it's cheaper. That's why I put it on there. It's cheap for people to buy, so it's only a couple of euros. So basically, you can get that on Kindle or Amazon. And then the book, people giving me feedback say that, 1, the book is great because you can write little notes in it.
Yeah.
And you can highlight things. 2, their families are reading it. Their families are finding it. Even like people who don't have this condition are finding it so good for life skills.
Yeah. And there is a wealth of information.
There's a wealth of information.
And I've passed it on now to a lot of my fibromyalgia friends who have gotten so much from it as well because it's
anybody
very much...
with chronic illness.
Anyone with chronic illness.
I mean, anybody. If you're a solicitor or a bin man, whatever it is, you can gain knowledge.
Just learn to live a better and healthier life.
You'll have a more content life. A more relaxed, things won't bother you as
and
much.
It's not overwhelming. There's simple changes that you feel that can, you can tweak. And one change a week.
Oh, yeah.
In 6 months down the line, you're a different person.
Yeah. And there's specialists in the book and there's therapists in the book who have all dealt with ME.
Yeah.
And it's
a really good source.
It is, and it's simplified. It's just everyday.
Yeah,
talk.
I think a lot of people can be overwhelmed with like medical terms when it comes to this and diagnosis.
I don't do any
whereas
of that.
it's so easy to read. It's layman's terms. It's
down the way. I don't do any of that I don't get involved with that side of it because I leave it up to the scientists.
Yeah,
it just burns and fries my brain.
I know. And people get enough of it. They just want to.
They want easy
talk.
listening.
Yeah,
and straight talk. If you want straight talk, come to me.
You came to the right people.
We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you straight. No stuff.
Can we just touch as well on movement? Because it's so important.
Yes,
important.
Movement.
Aside from exercise now, movement.
No, not exercise. I don't recommend exercise, right? Okay, because of post-exertion malaise, right? Okay, the more you do, the worse you get, right? You'll sink faster than the Titanic, right? It's just not recommended. Gentle movement, a nice little. You can, even in the morning, get up and stretch.
Stretching exercise.
Hands over your head and give yourself a big stretch. Do you know? Take a few breaths, go downstairs, get out the back and take another few breaths. I'm talking deep breaths.
Yeah.
Right? In through your nose and out through your mouth. And take a few and smell the air and smell the trees and the bushes and And
thank God we're coming into spring now. We can do that.
And give it gratitude.
Yeah.
Give it thank you. Gratitude is very important. It's much better than giving out and complaining, right? Because complaining does nothing for you. It's negative. It's what you can't do. We need to focus on what we can do.
Yeah.
Right?
And be grateful for what we can do.
And be grateful for what we can do. If we can only walk from one side of the bedroom to the other side of the bedroom, that is success.
There's people that can't.
Well, I'm telling you now,
So
I
you
had
have
one
to
guy,
say,
right?
yeah.
And he was literally, could only get up to go to the restroom. And when he was talking to me, he says, "What am I going to do?" He says, I need to get further. So I said to him, "Okay, I'll tell you what you'll start doing. Right? I'm going to tell you one thing to do over the next month, right? Okay, and that's it. And in another month you can talk to me, right?" I said, "Other than going to the restroom, get up out of the bed and walk to the door of the bedroom and get back into bed again. Do that every day once." Right, other than your regular trips to the washroom.
Yes.
And then he did that, and he came back to me, and I said, "Right, okay, do it twice a day now." Right, and then he did it twice a day. Right, I said, "Now what I want you to do is," I think it was 6-7 weeks later. I said, "I want you to go out of the bedroom,
the actual room,
go out into the hall and walk to the furthest length of the hall and back up again." Now, it's only a usual semi-D, so the halls aren't that big. So walk that and go back to bed. He started doing that for a couple of weeks.
But this is all a little bit further.
That man is now able to walk, he's able to walk 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And that's it.
From nothing.
From nothing. I won't let him do any more for a good while now.
Yeah.
Because that's enough. Your body you need to get to a level of 1 minute and be comfortable on that level for a number of weeks.
That's it.
Because you don't want to push your body too much. You need the movement. And movement means, like, if you're able to get up and out of the chair once an hour, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
If you're able to hold your hands out to the sides and do gentle circles.
Yeah, and the same with your ankles.
The ankles, do circles with your hands and do circles with your ankles. That's movement, like.
It is.
And it's vital because when you do movement, it gets the circulation going, right? And you need that.
It's the blood flow.
Music, that Superwoman song, that'll change your mood straight away, right? And put you in a better state of mind. So you might get a little bit of I feel like doing my hand exercises now. Or, and I'm only saying, do 5 circles.
That's it, yeah.
Do 5 circles,
Something
right?
that's achievable, Sarah,
Something
isn't it?
that's very easy. It has to be easy.
Yeah.
Because if it's easy, you'll do it again. And if you do small quantities, you'll do it again. And it'll become consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, consistency.
I think just over time now in talking to people, when you would say movement or exercise like that, they'd shut down, they say, "I can't do it." So I used to kind of suggest, is there a drawer that's driving you mad that you need to clean out? Go and clear that out. And in doing that alone, you have movement. Is there
5 minutes of decluttering.
5 minutes of a declutter.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Or, like you say with that gentleman, to get up off the chair and go to the sink and drink a glass of water.
Yes.
Because the water is going to help your system,
Yes.
the movement, everything is going to... So the littlest things you may think, sure, mightn't as well do them at all.
They are very
But they're
important.
so important
They're
to
very
keep
important.
everything going, yeah.
And regarding the food, drink a glass of water every morning first thing.
Yeah,
Not too nice and slowly, just drink before you eat your food.
this is it. Just to get the system...
Just flush out the toxins and
yeah.
everything that was there all night, because you've been stagnant all night.
This is it. I just want to say thank you so much for coming in this
Thank
morning.
you for having
and the
me.
tips and tricks. And I know you'll be shattered after it. So I really, really, really appreciate you giving the time and the energy.
And we have the Zoom calls. If you want to get onto the Zoom calls or want to get onto a group, you just basically contact Declan at the Irish ME Trust, and he'll connect you to the Zooms where you get a link, and you can come in. You don't have to have your camera on. We're very relaxed in there. You can have your jammies on if you want. I mean, there's no judgment here.
No.
Absolute just help for people to
And just try it out and see
try it out.
if it's for you it is, and if it isn't, it isn't.
Well,
But
the
there's no harm.
information, you can lie down and listen to it beside your bed. And basically, it's an hour, and it gives tips on everything. I mean, food, life skills, meditation. We do a little bit of art, maybe. We do breathing exercises. When I go on, I do a breathing exercise first, then I do a visualization,
Lovely.
and then I do talk about a topic, and then I, like I say, my topic could be boundaries. I talk all about the boundaries and the different angles
And
you can
people
come
get
at.
involved as much as they want.
Oh,
then
they
if
do. They
want
can
to have
ask.
a chat.
We can have a chat. We can have a
questions.
giggle. Sometimes we do have a bit of a giggle. Sometimes we have a lot of
Dull,
giggles.
dull.
To be honest, it's great. It's
I can
definitely
back
not
you up on
dull.
that.
It's definitely not dull.
All
So
right.
yeah, so that's and the ME gathering then the 12th of May.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you.